All right, without further ado, I think we're ready to go ahead and dive right into our podcast. So, the first thing we want to talk about is Google versus Amazon, and I'd like Don to open up with this.
Yeah, if there's anything you want to start off a podcast with, it's with drama.
It
So,
has to be.
this is what this story is about. So, to give you a little bit of a backstory, there's a product called the Amazon Look. I have to look around my room and make sure any of my Alexa devices don't turn on while I talk about this. But so there's a thing called Amazon Look. It's kind of like an Echo, but it has a screen on it, so you can tell your Look to play YouTube videos. And I forgot what the days were exactly, but over this week there has been drama with YouTube, Google, and Amazon. And so how you would activate this device, you would say, "Hey, um, Look," or Amazon Look. I don't know the keyword to activate it, but you would tell it to play a YouTube video, and it would play this stripped down version of YouTube. It would just pretty much pull any ads. It wouldn't show the like comment. It wouldn't show the comment section. It was a stripped down version of YouTube. And Google was like, "Hey, that's not nice. We want our ads to play and related videos to show up." And so they blocked this way of using their API. And so Amazon was like, "Okay." So what they did is they made a new app. They updated their app to where it's just a wrapper around YouTube. So you still see ads, you see the comment section. Only thing they did to modify it was to add like a voice interaction on top of this app. So you can, "Hey Alexa, play this. Hey Alexa, search this on YouTube." And then Google was like, "I don't like this way either." And so they blocked that as well.
Oh, snap.
And then all of a sudden you see a company which is owned by Ness is a company that's under the Alphabet Google umbrella. Their items get pulled from Amazon. And so we have this weird fight between two large companies, and I don't know. I just find it fascinating.
Yeah, it's really interesting because it goes even further than that. It was just not only were they violating their use or whatever, but Amazon's just purposely messing with this other company, and they're taking away sources of revenue. It's is that ethical? Do you think that should be allowed because the companies are their own entities? So do you think they're allowed to do whatever they want, or do you think it should be sort of everybody should be entitled to use whatever is on the internet kind of thing, net neutrality?
Okay, I think I understand the situation a little bit. So with YouTube, are they do you think they updated their their API overall to apply to everyone after that incident? Because if that's the case, then they probably just didn't think about that at first.
No, I don't think so. I think it was kind of directly targeted. One time, okay, and I think Amazon was in the wrong to have the stripped down version of YouTube in the first place that didn't show ads. That's kind of messed
Yeah,
up. Okay,
I would complain if they had a stripped down version of me too.
Hey, Amazon, look, show me pictures of Steven.
That's the future.
Yeah, that's the future. That's the world we live in. But no, yeah, okay. So they blocked that version, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's legit. You're in the right. But the second version, I don't have an Amazon Look, but the way my friends were explaining it to me is, it was just something that was over YouTube. It was like a wrapper around YouTube that allowed you to use voice commands. And so that seems all right. I don't know what terms of service, that violates. Really,
I think it has it's almost kind of like the same thing as scraping, and how on the fence we are about that. So when it comes to scraping the web for content, let's say you need a bunch of data, you could go out and write a little script to scrape a bunch of websites, but there's some ethical concerns there with, is it are you entitled to use their data? Like you're scraping it. They didn't say you can't, but also you're just taking data that's not really yours, even though it's open. But I'd actually like to read the statement that what is it? YouTube, Google put out. They said, "We've been trying to reach an agreement with Amazon to give consumers access to each other's products and services, but Amazon doesn't carry Google products like Chromecast and Google Home. It doesn't make Prime Video available for Google Cast." So off the bat, you start to see that it's not just one way. It wasn't like
and this goes on from the beginning of time, ever since Alexa came out, and you would try to buy a Fire Stick on Alexa, it would recommend, when you tried to buy a Chromecast on Alexa, it would like automatically recommend a Fire Stick. So this goes on, past like this week.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean they've been doing this for a while, and so like at that statement, the second part was for Google Cast users, and last month stopped selling some of Nest's latest products. So Amazon took Nest products that right, like Don said, under the Alphabet Google umbrella. So they said, given this lack of reciprocity, words are tough. They're not respecting it, right? We are no longer supporting YouTube on Echo Show and Fire TV. We hope we can reach an agreement to resolve these issues soon. So what Google did to Amazon, it's like they had a real app, they were using the API, they blocked access to that, and I'm sure someone on the Amazon business side was like, what can we do so that they can't do that again? Some guy recommended, like, okay, we could just use the website and wrap that up with something like based on voice commands. Yeah, I mean, probably that's like when you think about it.
Yeah, that's what happened. It is.
So they try to make this web wrapper so they can't get blocked, and Google's really going out of their way to fire back. It's two huge tech giants just trying to like fight with each other. It's so unnecessary.
Yeah, and
I think it's competitive. Like it's just since they're like the way they approached it was like I think a threat to them. Like I think that's why they responded in that way by just blocking them entirely.
Right. Yeah.
Like so at the end of the day, I think they're just looking after their own business. And
I mean,
obviously, likewise with the other side too.
I think Amazon is kind of in the wrong here because it seems like, I know this is a little immature, they started it. They stopped. They stopped carrying those Google products.
Let's go to the sandbox. Let's settle this.
Yeah, fight on the playground, man. Yeah.
Fight on DevWars.
Wow.
Season 3.
Yeah,
let's give them the link.
Give them what they want. So Amazon started it, man. They took their products off of, they took Nest products off of Amazon. So they're like, that's a big way to go. I think that's too extreme.
That's pushing it, definitely.
Yeah, like one analogy that I was talking with Don and Steven last night, we were talking about how Windows, if you use Windows and you download Google Chrome and you try to make Chrome your default browser, Microsoft will like give you the nudge, like, hey, give Microsoft Edge a shot. And you can just click no, like it's not a big deal. But it can't be so black and white. I think you have to like look at these issues completely separately. It's so much more of a hurt on a company for the biggest. What do you call Amazon? The biggest. I don't know. The biggest retail. Biggest retail system. Right. Everybody is on Amazon, obviously. And you no longer have access to buy those products. That's a huge hit. They probably lost an insane amount of revenue straight off of that.
I think, okay, I like that example. But, okay, so I think the difference is that, so if you buy a computer, it's yours. Like, you bought that. You bought the operating system. Like, there are certain rights that you have, but then we're talking about an API, like, where, most APIs are even private. So I feel like they're in the right to not even offer an API. Like,
see, that's that's such an interesting, conflicting point of view because, from your end, you're like, if the company's private or whatever, they should be able to do whatever they want. It's up to them what they do with their money.
But at the same time, I feel what you're saying. Like, there is a certain it's touching the edge of net neutrality. It's like touching it.
Yeah, it's unfair. I think it's really unfair that I feel like we could all just coexist really well. They're both making more than enough money to survive. I
Yeah,
don't
and
think.
that's what I kind of like about it. Like, as from a drama perspective, like as a consumer, it sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when I tried to first buy a Chromecast, I went to Amazon. Oh, and there are no Chromecasts on here.
Yeah.
So yeah, as a consumer, it sucks. But it's nice to see these billion-dollar companies. They don't like own the world yet. You know, they're not. Yeah. So they are having these petty arguments, and I do think it's petty.
Yeah.
That I don't know. It's nice to see, but it hurts the consumer.
It's high school drama when you get down to it. It's like the
Yeah.
two most popular girls in high school are fighting over like a guy, man. It's so petty. It's so unfair that consumers are the ones really getting hurt when they're literally just bickering when in reality they'd both make more money if they both kept each other's services up.
Yeah.
It's so
True.
ridiculous. I don't
Yeah.
know. It doesn't make any sense to me. Steven, how do you feel on that? You agree that both companies would be making more revenue if they both allowed each other to use the services. So, like, they're both just hurting themselves.
Well, you brought up the example that the rapper bypassed ads.
That was the first one. That was
the first. Oh, that was before
and-
the rapper.
right.
Okay. Okay.
So
Do we agree that that was a little bit crazy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's insane.
Okay.
It's like
the rapper
Google was
part, I think is
in the right.
not as. I think that's a different story. Then if that didn't have the same privileges as the first one,
right.
because that's like a threat. Like I'd rather. That sounds great. I mean, I use ad block, but there's still a lot of people who don't know about it. Like such a thing.
Do you do the thing where, like, on particular channels, you'll turn off ad block just so they get that little revenue?
I don't think about it. No.
Really, that's so fun, man. Because like, since we're a streamer, I always think about and like whenever I watch YouTubers, I'm like, I feel bad. I feel like literally guilty if I have ad block on. I'm like, just give them the penny. Not even.
So I've gotten a new computer and I have not installed AdBlock.
Oh wow!
Like,
Oh,
yeah,
what's that like?
I don't know.
You're dead,
YouTube
dude.
ads are weird.
Incognito question mark?
But
What?
no. I haven't had a
Nothing.
like super crazy problem with ads. I don't know.
Really? I mean, it's definitely dialed down in the past like 2 years.
Yeah.
It was a mess, man. Like you could.
Yeah.
Obviously, we wouldn't have been in this era if websites could just take it easy, not go too hard on the ads, like get a healthy amount of revenue without ruining my experience on your website, right? It's really frustrating.
Huh.
Like we don't even have to be here, but because some people are greedy, it's the same stuff, man. It's petty. They'd all be winning if they weren't such terrible people. Like,
Yeah.
Hey, let's take a moment to read some of these comments. So, Memento said, reminds me of Amazon not accepting PayPal back when it was owned by eBay.
genius.
Yeah. Yep.
Le-
Same
lead
exact
up.
thing.
Lead up. P. I disagree with the revenue argument. These companies are jockeying for future revenue, not current. Yeah, I mean they're definitely looking for like not just current revenue. I mean, if this, like we were saying, if Amazon was doing something that was a threat to Google, or I mean they're gonna stop it immediately, so it doesn't become a even bigger threat over time. And then Wolves pointed out that it's fire and not looks, so thanks for correcting us there.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. I mean, do we want to talk a little bit more about the extensions before we move into the next topic?
Actually, yeah, I want to talk about how I think it's like, you know what? It's so bad, like that that this is even like we said. Somebody said it's not about like the revenue, but this is so petty. This is like you're talking about future revenue for what? Like YouTube and like Prime Video. People, they need to realize that what they're selling.
Amazon does own Twitch now.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's what Don's talking about, by the way, where they own everything. That's on the way. But yeah, no, these companies, I think what they should realize is that their products are not just like direct interfaces to their content. They should be tools that everybody can develop to help access everybody's content. It's not, I don't know why they're trying to be so exclusive about it when it's clearly making things worse.
Yep.
Yeah,
It just reminds me so much about like the net neutrality
Yeah.
It's like free and open web, except for our products.
Yeah, all these companies pretend to be invested in. Like, did you see Comcast or Time Warner Cable had a statement on their website, and it was like talking about how they were so like pro net neutrality and everything. The second that guy Ajit Pai put up that bill or whatever, they took down their statement and were like, "Yep, let's lobby this guy. Let's uh we should talk about net neutrality one day. That'd be a good one."
That's a big
Yeah.
topic. Yeah, especially after this.
Yeah, I
Nestev
definitely need to
said-
do my research. Like, I
Nest-
get the gist, but like, there's so many things that are happening right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate keeping up. That's like the hardest part of being a developer in general. Keeping
Yeah.
up, like
It's tough, man. There's a lot of new techs coming out. All right, so Nestev said, if you provide a free service that doesn't require an account, you shouldn't be butthurt when someone finds a way around your ads. In this case, I think Amazon is totally fine to write a wrapper for YouTube.
oh, that one is really interesting because somebody on when Apple did the thing where they out of the box on Safari they blocked tracking, which tracking is used heavily for ads because they want to see a trail of what you're doing. A bunch of like advert companies wrote an open letter to Apple saying like, please don't do this. This is our main source of revenue. And I remember people on Reddit were saying, it's not Apple's fault that your business model fails when we want our consumers to be happier. Like, do you think that's on?
Dang,
Yeah,
that's strong
no,
words. Yeah, I
it
need
is
to
strong.
digest that.
Yeah, that's a lot, right? Like that's insane to me that Apple has been, really coming up. I think they're doing some solid stuff. I really appreciate their like security, except
Oh yeah, what happened? to
one
the
Rudy
thing?
boy.
Well,
Yeah, one.
we can quickly go over that if you want.
So these companies, we're talking about big companies, right? These companies are obviously like revenue is, they're already making money. Like it's clear that they're interested in, sustaining their growth over time.
Right.
Like they want to stay in the game. It's more than just money at that point.
Right.
So, I mean, I just wanted to touch on that. And then also, no, that's a great point that you brought up. That's a very interesting counter perspective. I mean, I'm a business owner, so I have to think from a business perspective too. I really think that I would have responded in the same way, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah, because
yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, just because someone finds their way around it doesn't mean that they can't correct it. Because at the end of the day, they obviously overlooked that.
Well, you also have to factor in that I think what the internet has done to the world is kind of sick in that also, I know I'm all over the map here in terms of where I'm arguing for, but people seem to think they're entitled for everything to be free on the internet. It's really sickening. People get mad when a developer charges for like a library if they put hours, weeks of work, 40 hours a week. And
I
people
really
like
hate.
they're so entitled. It's so frustrating. So people, for example, I would be more than glad to shell out $10 a month if Google just chilled out with the ads. I mean, Google's already pretty tame. Or like $10 or $5 a month, if that's what it takes to, shim out the ads and just whatever, give proper revenue to everybody I watch, I wouldn't mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not bad, but like now we have to have all the, like you said, petty fights because everybody's so entitled and there's no other way to make revenue other than to make your site just a terrible experience.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, YouTube Red, exactly. But they're not gonna that's their transition, right? They're not gonna if they could just take off ads fully, or if they just keep it on and let people do the YouTube Red stuff. I think it's a good transition phase. Hopefully, people start actually becoming more inclined to pay for services. I'm not saying everybody's got to be rich, but I mean, I guess ads are actually pretty because if you don't have any money, you may as well just watch ads. But then people use ad block and they're not making revenue. It's so hard. It's so hard.
So, Nesthub said, or if YouTube has a piece in their ULA and Amazon breaks the ULA, YouTube is within their rights to cancel Amazon's API access.
Yeah.
So, of course, I'm wondering, do you guys know if YouTube added this after the incident?
Well, even if they did, it doesn't make a difference because any company, like just like YouTube does this, every other company puts it in their EULA. Like we're entitled. Facebook with React, remember they did the same thing. If you compete with us, you're not allowed to use our library. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's not fair. It's not fair. They're putting out technology. It's open. If you're charging for it, you're charging for it. People got to pay for it. But if you're gonna block your competitors for using it, that's how you get big monopoly, right? Like that's how you don't want one company to own the world. You need that diversity, otherwise we're all done.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess the follow-up question to all of this is, where do we go from here? It's like, does it stop? Like, does it end and they say sorry and they put Nest products back on the Amazon store and hopefully the Chromecast as well? Or is this just going to get worse?
It's definitely going to get worse. I mean, obviously the dream is that these guys can stop bickering like 10-year-old girls, but like it's not going to happen because they're every single, Stephen before the quote was like, it's not always about the money. I completely disagree. It's always about the money for these big companies. You have people on the low level that are working on the product that care, but the people that are like enforcing the decisions that are made are coming from higher up and only care about revenue. They have no empathy for the user. I don't think I'm clearly generalizing, but I think for the most part it's all about corporate and the shareholders and trying to make sure they're happy with our revenue. So every decision that gets made is clearly in favor of revenue, and sometimes the case is in favor of the revenue means it's not in favor of the consumer. So I think it's only going to get worse is my final answer.
Steven, how about you?
Yeah, no, I definitely can see this happening more often.
Yeah, same here. I think it's just gonna get worse.
I hope it doesn't like really blow up to the point where because I bet Google and Amazon use each other's services everywhere other than just, what I mean, like YouTube. Like Amazon has a bunch of great services on AWS, right? Google they got a bunch of APIs. I'm sure Amazon, imagine they just blocked each other. Like that would be the end of the world, man.
Yeah.
Like that, the world might collapse. You don't know what will happen. That's a new kind of test we have to do. Like if the company that we're using an API removes our API key, do our tests still pass?
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about our next topic here.
Yeah, it's never gonna get better. Let's transition.
Yeah, we're leaving this on a horrible note.
So we're ending the drama. We're ending drama, guys.
Yeah.
All right, so before we get into our next topic, actually, I just want to say hello to all the new viewers who are just now tuning in. So we're doing a podcast right now. We're kind of toward the end here. What you missed out on was in the beginning, we talked about how we have updates that are going out every week through our MailChimp. So if you haven't subscribed yet, go to devwars.tv, and there's a link to subscribe right in there. And then also we have an official Discord. So the link to that is discord.gg/devwars. All right, let's get back into it. So let's talk about editors.
Drama ensues. So much more drama and editors than any of the other stuff, man.
Oh yeah.
Way more drama.
All right, so why don't we start off? I had a good idea where we just start off everybody without interrupting each other. Say what editor you're currently using. Steven, go ahead.
I'm using VS Code.
Don?
I use IntelliJ.
I am also currently using IntelliJ. So that's 2 versus 1. Next topic.
I'm outruled.
Yeah, we won.
Defeated.
But no, I can talk quickly about just editors in general. So I started using. Let's just do the history of like where we started, where we're at now. So I started using, I think it's called TextMate, or there was some specific text editor for Mac that I use. I think it's like Text Wrangler or something.
TextMate, Text Wrangler, all those.
Yeah. So I started using that when I started coding, and then I moved to Sublime, and then I went to IntelliJ, and I just loved it. And then I switched from IntelliJ to VS Code, and then I switched back to IntelliJ. It's just amazing.
Wow.
I want to acknowledge something that's going in the comments. Is IntelliJ isn't really an editor, is it? You're totally right.
Wow.
I think in a weird. Obviously, it's
Oh
IntelliJ
yeah.
beefed up, right? Like, let's. We're not. I mean, we're talking about editors. I guess we're talking about editors slash IDEs, right? What are we? What are you using to develop your platforms? So, Don, you're currently on the IntelliJ train, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Do you use any particular flavor, or do you use IntelliJ or like PHP Storm, WebStorm?
Mainly WebStorm, yeah.
Okay, all right. I'm on the IntelliJ flow because that is okay. Well, I guess I should start. I started off with like some punk editor. I was using like those old JavaScript to iOS like WebView things. That was my first project I ever did. I transitioned my way onto Xcode, played around with that, and then I think I got right into IntelliJ when my dad's coworker told me I needed to learn Spring MVC, which is like Java. It's a bit like the industry de facto for Java, and I started using IntelliJ, and then that's when I fell in love. And yeah, now it's like I see myself always trying to go down on like VS Code / Sublime Text, and I always come back to IntelliJ because it's so amazing. It really is context aware. But let's go to Steven before we get into that.
What do you want to know about me?
Well, I want to know about the story of your editor
history,
game, man.
yeah.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Where'd you start?
I think I honestly did start in Notepad, but
Plus plus or just Notepad?
yeah.
Okay, cool.
But I didn't know very much.
Nah.
Yeah, and then I moved to plus plus, and then from there my actual first editor I used, which is more like a program, was Dreamweaver. Yeah, no,
Oof.
I mean that was I thought it was cool because my cousin used it, and I was like, oh man, this is it. I didn't really think that there was another software out there. Just me being ignorant. But yeah, after that, I run another stream on Twitch, and so a lot of people know about this. But I use brackets after that. That was my next thing I use, and I talked a lot. I talked very highly of brackets.
Wait, just cutting in here. Brackets and Dreamweaver were made by Adobe,
Yep,
right?
it
Yeah.
is, yeah.
Okay.
That's another
Okay.
reason why I like. I mean, I watched a live stream where not a live stream, but a video where. And by the way, real quick, I'm going to interrupt. We do have a straw poll in the chat, so if you guys want to let us know what editor you're using. So yeah, I mean, I saw this live, or I don't know if it was live, but basically, Adobe talked about how it was like open source and all this stuff, and that was my first time ever watching a video about it, and like they said, like literally you own brackets, like literally you could take brackets and resell it, like it's yours. Like they actually said that on the stage.
That's a little weird.
It's a little freaky. It's on the freaky side. I was like, all right. But no, that like they were talking about the extendability, and I know all IDs and stuff have that, but but at the time I was like, oh, cool, and I got it. It was way faster than Dreamweaver for sure, because you really don't need all that mess. Dreamweaver had like tons of buttons in every location
Steven,
you could
the overlay?
imagine.
There. Oh, you got the. Okay.
Yeah, I got the straw poll.
Yeah, we don't need to see Don anyway.
Yeah, don't put my face on there.
Oh, nice ad. So let's talk about why we made the choices that we did, and IDEs versus text editors, and let's start with Steven. Steven, why do you feel you don't need to use an IDE? I know we've talked about this before, but have you used an IDE, and how do you feel?
Never. I don't think I did. I mean, I even thought VS Code was an IDE. I'm not. Can you guys explain to me what the difference is really?
I'll let Don take this one. I think he had a really good answer last night.
No. So IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. So what that means is it takes in the context of your current working directory, and it figures out where, like, just the context of it. So if you're in one file, it has information about all your other files, and so it can reference stuff. It can suggest stuff. If you're using like a framework like Angular or React, it'll suggest like, hey, you're probably using this method wrong. You probably meant to do this. And so I
Oh,
think editors are really getting good,
yeah.
like especially VS Code.
Yeah.
But it's still, I think,
Okay.
IntelliJ and IDEs in general just have more content.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay. Now some of those things you were talking about, like I feel like VS Code has, and maybe it's, there's something I'm missing here, but I do have an extension called IntelliJ Sense, and it allows for those smart suggestions, and it looks through all those files for me by default. Well, not by default, with that
Yeah, you mean
extension.
IntelliSense, right?
IntelliSense. Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
IntelliSense.
Okay, so all right, as someone who I rode the VS Code train on and off for like I'd say a week on, week off, week on, week off for like 2 months. I'm insane, I know, but I've used those extensions, and let me tell you, when Don said context aware, it's really absurd. When like I, speaking genuinely, don't ever have to write a full line of code because it really knows what I'm going to type. They use neural networks now to try to truly determine what the next thing you're going to write is, and it's really impressive. They're always able to catch bugs. Like they just let you know about things like, hey, like for example, when a function takes a width and a height, and you accidentally pass it height width, it's smart enough to even know, like, hey, you passed a variable named height to width. Are you sure you meant to do that? It's like, come on. It really, really understands my projects.
Okay.
It's amazing.
I think, okay, so we also have to consider what we all do. So I want to point out that I think IDE might be overkill for me for what I do. I mean, I personally don't feel like there's any pain points with VS Code for me, especially considering that I have the extensions that I added. But, I primarily work with HTML and CSS. I feel like, with more JavaScript, especially some of these frameworks and stuff, or even if you're doing backend, there's a lot more hopping around in files, a lot more methods to look at, a lot more functions and stuff, and they're just everywhere, especially the way the modern workflow is. I feel like being context aware, I can really see the value in that, like having an IDE for that. But I think that's why I just need something lightweight. That's what I prioritize. I don't know. I don't really feel like I need, unless there's something that VS Code isn't doing for me,
Yeah. Like for you, it's like it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like you're doing really well, you're succeeding in your development. Like you've never felt any big pain points, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and also like to consider the same thing. Like, what are you really good at? Like Steven has been using. He was using brackets for a while, so he was really proficient in that. He switched to VS Code. I think he found himself to fit in pretty quickly.
Oh,
And
yeah,
like,
real quick.
I don't know how Don and I've been using IntelliJ for 4 or 5 years, probably 4 years. 4 years.
Yeah, I've been using it for I think 3 years, off and on, of course. Like I tried VS Code for a while.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the con of each of our editors. I would say the con for me is it's definitely slow. Like when I tried VS Code for the first time,
Yeah.
I was like, "What? My project's up and running, and everything just works." So like, even for work, so like when I open a project, I have like after everything loads, there's this like loading bar at the bottom that says indexing. Yeah, everyone knows about the indexing. And so that takes like a minute to index like every file.
But that's only on a new
Yeah.
project. Only on a new
really?
project that happens. Like if it doesn't have that .idea directory where it's indexed everything, that's where it stores all of its caches. It will reindex. I think that's how it goes.
Yeah.
But no, definitely. I bought a new laptop because my MacBook from 2011 or 2013, I don't know when the new one came out, It was about like 5 years ago, probably. But I bought a new laptop so I could code on the fly, and yeah, because my MacBook that was pretty performant. I like to think it could run most things. It just got my fingers so hot when I used IntelliJ. It was so uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's a memory hog.
Most definitely, yeah.
And I really liked brackets originally because it was faster than what I used, but brackets was even faster than that, and that's what drew me. But also, just VS Code is so much cleaner looking now that I look back at brackets. I just can't believe I even used it. But no, I love VS Code so much. For me, I really don't know if I have any cons. I mean,
No
I'm really just sitting. I've been trying to sit here thinking of anything.
What about their new icon? That's one.
I like it.
You like it?
Wait, the orange one?
No. They
Yeah.
changed it to the blue one now. It's.
Oh yeah.
I think
when it was the orange one,
I think that was
a bit
bold.
weird,
That was
but-
bold. It was.
Yeah.
I
Definitely
think
bold move.
Microsoft Office was like, "Hey, can't be doing that."
You can't be doing that.
The guys on the Excel
Gotta
team
stick
came
within the-
over.
That's funny. No, but it's like, yeah, I feel like it was definitely out of place, but people blew it out of proportion.
Oh
what?
yeah, no. The icon thing. I think
Oh.
so. People on the internet got all upset, but I think everybody
Yeah.
knew. Everybody was like, it doesn't matter, but it's just funny to get mad
To
about.
me,
Yeah.
I at the end, the color wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't sitting well with me. But I really do think the icon is better than the previous. The previous one looked dated, in my opinion. This one looks fresh, new, and it's in the blue, so it's not as out there anymore. It's in this
I think
blue that we're
they
used
all look like trash. I think they're
wow.
all terrible.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
nah. I mean, I'm not saying I could do better. I'm a terrible designer. I'm a consumer and I have my opinion. I think they both look awful.
But also,
Both
you're
as
not
in-
like a designer either, so.
I love when people say that. To me, that means I have the best point of view because I'm just a dumb consumer. You know what I mean? I get to look at an icon and be like, you know, like
Yeah.
I get that outside point of view.
Yeah,
y'all are
I
both
guess
designers.
That makes, yeah, I value everyone's opinion too, yeah. But sometimes you're just flat out wrong.
Oh no! Oh god! How long into this
Can be
podcast? So, what are some of your guys like on your IDE/editor must-have plugin/extension?
That's
Like-
a good question. And while we're waiting for them to answer that, so we have pretty good results in here. It looks like majority of people here are using VS Code, but actually it's tied with Sublime. So
What?
People are still on that Sublime train, staying loyal.
I was on the
Sublime
Sublime.
is Awesome, yeah.
It's hard.
Fast, simple.
Yo, it's definitely real fast. And that guy came back for Sublime 3.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
that's right.
He
that's
was
right.
he was MIA for like 2 years, and he comes back, right? And he releases Sublime 3, and it's super fast again. And I know Taylor Otwell, the creator of Laravel, always uses Sublime, and people like VS Code started to come out. I think it was a year or two ago, and he was talking about it's like I'm not gonna switch even if this guy doesn't come back. He's like Sublime is life, but I can't get into it. Like the idea of VS Code being configurable, like it's a web app, makes so much sense for developers. That makes it so easy to use, easily configurable. But Sublime, you kind of have to. It's written in C++ or whatever, and it's not configurable like a web app was, but it's still super extendable. I'm not saying it's bad at all. Just as good as
Yeah.
VS Code, I think.
I try to get into it. I don't know, something about it. I just like you're talking about it from a very practical standpoint, like in terms of what it was built on and all that stuff. But like just me just using it, I don't know, there's something about it. Like
Yeah, same. Exactly the same feeling.
So I do have a question. Is there Atom? Did you put Atom on the list?
I did.
That has
did.
kind of like fallen off ever since VS Code came out.
You hate to see it, man.
The
I was
graph-
on Atom for like a week and a half.
On Atom or on Atom?
Atom with the ATOM.
Okay, just making sure. that it's
Oh
not
my
the same
god!
thing.
That took me a while, man. I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, no, like I mean, even the graph shows that not that many people are using Atom.
I have a friend who lives right next to me, uses Atom.
Is he okay?
I mean, I check in on him. I no, he's not like a hardcore developer. He's like getting started. He digs it. He doesn't know. I guess like
He's not
it's not that he
conscious
doesn't
yet.
know. No, he's not. I know he's gonna listen to this and be like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm gonna be like, I'm just trying to say, Adam isn't as good as everybody. Get on IntelliJ. This is now a hypnosis podcast. I'm actually a rep from JetBrains. No, but for real, I tell everybody to try the JetBrains family once and just.
I've tried it. I have. You got me set up, Terrence. I don't know if you remember this.
I did?
Yeah, he got me set up on IntelliJ. He's like, do it. And I did, and I waited for the app to launch for like 20 seconds or more. I think minimum. No, I think it was way longer than that. No, it was way longer. I'm being generous here. It was like
Remember that
10
time
minutes.
You built it for an hour. You built the DevWars project, and you like left your computer for hours, and it was still building when you came back.
Sounds more like It was just painful memories that I tried to erase from my mind.
Oh man!
But like, I mean, I'm sure once it all loads and stuff, but like really what I'm doing is like I need to get in there and just change some CSS properties. You feel me? Like I really don't need to be hopping around into different functions.
I don't need no context-aware neural nets. You know?
I don't. I really don't.
All right, let's talk about Vim. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do it. All right.
Hate it.
Wish I knew it.
Actually, I changed my answer. I don't hate it. I wish I knew it.
Have you guys were you guys forced to use Vim at all in your life? Like, I mean, when you're on a server at least. But like, Don, you went to school. Did they force you to use Vim?
No, not forced. Like, of course, there's SSH. You just have to use Vim.
Yeah.
But no, we weren't forced. They didn't. No, this is not an abusive school.
Oh, dude, at my school.
How about Nano? Can we get a Nano hype in the chat?
So yeah,
Oh,
Steven
God.
left the podcast, guys. Don't worry about it. It'll be back. So yeah, at my school, they tell you to they don't teach you how to set up SSH so you can edit on your local machine and just like copy over the files when you're done or push them to the Git repo. They tell you to SSH into your private little server that they give you and use Vim on a little like putty window. It's pretty embarrassing, but I know everybody in my major uses it. It's funny. I guess
putty.
kids are going to be good at Vim now, hopefully.
Why can't they just design something better for putty? Why can't they just update the UI? I don't understand. To me, UI is so easy. It's so easy.
Oh, for putty?
Yeah.
Okay, alright. Nobody
so
uses
bad.
putty anyway.
Okay, well, you brought it up though.
Yeah, fair.
What is
No,
the
but I mean-
alternative? Because I have looked for an alternative. Like it seems like putty's the thing. Like
I know
for
they have-
very specific use cases though.
They have CyberDuck for Mac OS, but I mean, I just SSH in. Like you just got SSH in. You're a professional developer, Steven. What are you doing using putty?
SSH in and then use Nano to edit projects.
I think you
Files?
misspelled Vim.
It's not spelled N-A-N-O?
Nanovim. So, how many people in here use Vim? Do you think? Like, should we get a poll up for that?
I'm gonna guess. If I were to guess,
Where are the Emacs
10%. 10%.
10%. I think literally one person, and it's gonna be me.
Is there a way to like do a Vim off?
I'm gonna win.
Oh man, I wonder if there's a way to like compete via Vim. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like people who can get to this line of text the fastest.
Oh.
Oh, you got NeoVim.
Maybe
Does
we're hinting
anybody-
at a potential DevWars game mode.
Oh, just keep teasing him, man.
Just
Keep
tease them. Tease them.
Oh, man. Does anybody actually use Emacs? Like, what's wrong with you? What happened? Nobody
I don't
has.
know. Someone at my work uses Emacs, and I just think he's a god. Like, this guy is insane.
I
He could
swear.
just-
Go ahead. Sorry, my bad.
Oh no, I was just gonna rant on about how godlike he is, but yeah, it's pretty awesome when you see someone use either Vim or Emacs.
They look like magicians, man. Like I feel like to think I'm good at it, and then I see people. I go on YouTube. I look up like Vim compilation.
Oh my god!
People
People
going-
with like dubstep.
Oh
Like,
yeah, bro. People drinking Red Bulls and
Yeah.
Monsters. It's
You can
so
see him
intense.
eating Doritos and getting like Dorito dust on his keyboard.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, dude, they go like just watching them use it though. Like you got to admit, is freaking
Yeah,
fly.
it's
Like,
definitely awesome. Even uh, just to cut you off real fast, I
go
do
for it.
use Vimium, which is a
And just to cut you
Chrome
off real fast, I'm just
extension.
kidding.
Wait, you use
Which is
Vimeo,
just
really?
like a Chrome. Yeah. So
I
I
didn't.
can browse the web without using my mouse, but I just can't do it in my editor. Like I need my mouse.
Dude, for literally opposites, I love Vim in the editor, but I tried Vimium and I lost my mind. I was like,
Really?
dude, because I go on Reddit, right? And you do F to
Oh,
like
you do F.
and
Highlights
everything.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, you just have to kind of like look. I kind of know where the keys are gonna
that's
be.
amazing.
Not the keys, but like where to look.
Yeah,
And so
you're a
you look in a
magician.
specific spot, and you press F, and then you see the two keys that you need, and you just press those.
You're a
You know,
magician.
with me with Vim, like, I try to learn it, but I just couldn't like. So I think it's J. Wait, what is it like? HJKL, right? Those are the
Yeah.
okay. So H is left, right?
Yeah.
I feel like
Yep.
J should be up, is what I feel like.
This is how I
Oh, man.
feel, man.
That's how I feel.
It just makes
in
so much
my
more
heart.
sense. But I mean, it's just like my head keeps wanting to.
Yeah, let's talk about
But
the learning curve. Like,
It's,
it's terrible. I went back and forth. I think I used Vim for like 2 days, went back to the mouse, and eventually I was like, all right, it's go time, buddy. If you want to be cool, you got to use Vim. So I forced myself for like 2 weeks. It takes about 2 weeks before you're actually proficient,
Really?
which is really,
That's not
really
that bad.
annoying. No,
That's not
that's
that bad.
terrible.
Oh.
It's terrible.
Well, I mean,
Your fingers cramp, bro. Everything hurts. Like,
I'd be so scared to do it in an actual project. Like especially on a timeline. It has to be
Exactly.
very like casual experience.
exactly.
yeah,
That's the worst part because what you do in practice, you'll do in like when you're actually working. So if you want to like practice on the side and you go back to work and you're actually like using the mouse again, you're gonna kind of be reset. I think when you go home, you'll be back on the mouse game. But people don't realize, man, how much time you spend if you're using the keyboard, picking up your hand and putting it on the mouse. Think about that movement. Pick it up
yeah.
all
It's
the
a
way to
lot.
the mouse. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. But here
Yeah,
we are.
the concept
So as
makes
far as-
sense.
As far as editors, I don't use like Vim plugin for WebStorm or IntelliJ, but I do use this plugin called Ace Jump. So so I press a command and I can basically start typing to search for things, and then search for things on the screen. And so I just press the command, start typing like log, and then it'll highlight all the logs on the screen, and I can just press 1 to go to the first one, 2 to go to the second one, etc. And so I found that very helpful.
How
like,
do you
it's-
navigate? Like, is that just for like? Let's say you're on a line and you're like, okay, I want to delete all the parameters inside these parentheses. What do you like? What do you do? Do you like Steven and Don? Like, do you go to the mouse? What do you do?
Yeah, you can go.
No, I was gonna ask you to re-ask.
Okay, so like, let's say you have you're calling a function, right? And you're passing it 3 parameters, and you just want to delete everything inside the parentheses, basically. For me, I just type di parenthesis, and it deletes everything in there, which is really nice because it's
Oh
like
my god,
it's a
that's
language.
gone.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I take my right hand, I put it on the mouse, I click and hold the left button, and
Oh, wow.
I drag it from beginning to end. But I have very good accuracy, so I nail it every time.
There you go.
Oh,
And then I
man.
hit the delete button.
So how much more movement was that?
It sounds like a lot, but but you're not considering how good I am with the mouse. Like I'm.
No, I've
accurate.
seen you. You're pretty good. You're pretty good.
So for me, I just use the control and command, and then the arrow keys to get where I need to be.
Yeah, that's where I was
Yeah.
before the Vim game.
That's
I swear I was getting good at that. You know what I mean? Like that was my next. I feel like I was really fast using that too.
You know what I feel like? I feel like with me, I think the reason why I haven't pushed for them is because I don't feel like my mouse is a hindrance to me. I mean, like I think about it, like it's like, yeah, I use the mouse a lot. And I understand the value of having your hands always at your keyboard, but like yeah, I mean, like for example, it's noticeable when you don't have a fast PC and like you're doing work ahead of time and it's like the computer's slowing you
Catching
down.
up.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like yeah.
that's annoying. But like I don't feel I think my mind, because I don't feel like I think that fast. So I feel like at the end of the day, even if I like knew Vim or can move faster, like I think I'm going to be the funnel there. Like my mind is just that.
I
Gonna
feel that.
think that
I'm
fast.
I'm the ultimate throreshold for myself. Like I'm limiting myself here. But I find that like was it with Vim like you'll start to like think like you never want to. The only thing that's like when okay let me gather my thoughts here. When you've been coding for this long, it starts to become like writing an essay. Like it's not fun anymore. You're just kind of sitting there typing words that you know you just have to write out. It's how fast can I write them?
He doesn't mean that, guys.
Rarely like anymore do you have to think of like a hard problem when you've been using the same technologies. Like you're like, all right, I know how to do this, give me, you know what I mean, you just go. So if anything is in my way, it really makes me angry. Really makes me angry.
No,
like
yeah, you're right.
It's really frustrating. So if it's me, like I'm not like mad at I don't like get like mad at myself like you idiot. Like I'll just sit there and be like, all right, what can I do so that next time I'm not wasting anybody's time, like even my own, because I don't know.
Even cute, yeah. No, I think maybe I want to try Vim. I do. I think even though I feel like I might like I work pretty fast, I still feel like it'll help me in the end if I knew it.
Yeah, it's just one of those good like things to have on your tool belts.
Totally. Especially with all the terminal stuff, like did stuff in the terminal SSH and all that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
How
All
far
right.
have you taken Vim? Is it within like are you
me?
Me?
doing CS:GO like Vim style?
Oh my god. I don't need to aim with a mouse. I'm so good. To lock to their head. Tags. CSGO is good though.
What's the VAC system? VAC.
Oh yeah, the VAC. Yeah, like VAC bands. I don't know what it stands for. Like Valve.
I have no idea.
Valve anti-cheat. There it is. So.
All right, yeah. So I think that is the end of our podcast, guys. Where we've been going on for a considerable amount of time. So I want to take the time to thank you all for joining our first podcast. I know some of you guys are just now joining, but this is going to go on YouTube, and then obviously it's recorded on Twitch. But no, you guys are super awesome, and I really want to thank you guys again for being patient with Season 3. Hopefully you guys were noticing that launch date at the bottom there. February 17 is the date, but as I mentioned in the beginning of the stream, we are going to be releasing regular content to feed you on a weekly basis. So we're going to have a email blast that's going to go out today. So you want to make sure that you're subscribed to our MailChimp. Go to devwars.tv if you aren't already. And then lastly, we have a Discord. So that's where we're going to be right after the stream. So discord.gg/devwars. I'm going to go ahead and write the links in the chat after the stream. Do you guys have any final words?
I'm Terrence Besman. Keep the drive to develop. Keep on developing. It's hard. Keep doing it though. Good stuff.
All right, guys.
I am Don Page. Oh, you're not. You were gonna
No one cares about Don.
Classic. No one cares. No one cares. But
Just
no,
kidding.
if you have any suggestions on what you want us to talk about, just put it in Discord.
Oh, yes.
We'll try to
please
read it.
let us know what you thought about this podcast. Please give us your feedback, pros and cons, everything.
Just
we
if
need
it's
to know.
trash, let us know.
Yeah, just
Yeah, if
light
it's
us up.
Yeah.
And Steven, what about you, man? Closing statements from your boy?
My closing statements were those shameless plugs.
Nah, dude. What do you want to tell the world? What do you want to leave the world on?
I want
This
to leave
podcast
the
is the last
world
one.
with, you're a better developer than me.
Well, that's a fact. So that's a good one to
Oh,
leave
wow.
on.
So
Let's
just
click
think
That's
about that.
wholesome. That's wholesome. I like
Yes.
that.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Steven. I think you're a better developer than me, actually. So that's
Yeah, we.
aw.
No, you
I
can't
think I'm the
override my.
best. Okay, let's end.
All right. All right,
Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks for watching.
All right, see you next time.
Peace out, guys.